everybody, welcome. It's Lady Nakazawa here, and today we're going to be getting into some VTuber news. But before we do, please share, subscribe, hit the like, ring the bell. And guys, do you know that I stream on Twitch? Head over to Twitch, and if you're at work, leave me a like. Okay guys, on to our very first piece of Newsy news. This is NIJISANJI EN, and NIJISANJI EN is the overseas branch of NIJISANJI project consisting of English-speaking livers. And within NIJISANJI EN, there was a talent named Reimu Endou, who was a female Colombian virtual YouTuber affiliated with NIJISANJI EN's third wave, Alunia. Reimu then graduated from NIJISANJI on August 17th, 2025, and became MarieFD. And MarieFD is an independent female virtual YouTuber and singer. And this is Ike Eveland. Ike Eveland was a male English language virtual YouTuber affiliated with NIJISANJI EN's fourth wave Luxium. Essentially, the main story involves MarieFD and BariLoaf. And BariLoaf is a singing loaf here to do her best. So BariLoaf did do some emotes for NIJISANJI EN talents and was allegedly dating a NIJISANJI talent as well. Okay, so why are we talking about MarieFD and BariLoaf? Just to give you some context, guys, BariLoaf had posted this on her X account on October 23rd, 2025 at around 2:55 p.m. saying a former corporate VTuber doxed me. So this is BariLoaf's black screen stream about Reimu Endou, who became MarieFD. This all kicks off on this tweet here, okay? So then after this tweet, what happened was MarieFD had submitted her own Google document in regards to the allegations, and Marie posted this on October 23rd, 2025 at around 10:20 p.m. saying, "Thank you for being kind and giving me a bit of time to reply and give context on what happened recently. I'm sorry if it ended up being so long. I'm not used to writing these, and I never saw myself having to write one and having to act like this." So in MarieFD's document, she essentially denies everything BariLoaf says, dismissing her as an insane Matara girlfriend to Ike Eveland. This is Ike Eveland. Ike Eveland was a male English language virtual YouTuber affiliated with NIJISANJI EN's fourth wave Luxium. Further to this, what's happened is BariLoaf has posted an additional response. So this is posted on BariLoaf's X account on October 25th, 2025 at around 3:09 a.m. And BariLoaf says, "I want to sincerely apologize for frequently deleting my tweets. I understand how this might appear from an outsider's perspective, especially when discussing serious issues. Thank you for giving me the space to make mistakes and learn from them. Here is my final response." And you're like, okay, perfect, great, wonderful, fantastic. If you click on this, it has been taken down. So it says here, "We're sorry you can't access this item because it is in violation of our terms of service." Whether or not MarieFD got it taken down or perhaps NIJISANJI got it taken down, it's a little bit unclear. But of course, the good people on the internet have backed up this document. So this is a document here. It's about 20 pages long. And in an Indiana Jones moment, we need a legend, a color-coded legend, to decipher who is actually who in this document. So don't worry, I will be telling you who is who. So this story is going to involve a lot of other NIJISANJI characters. So I'm going to just introduce them to you, and then we'll come back to this. Okay, within this story, there is going to be Vox Akuma. We have Sunny Briscoe. Then we have Millie Parfait. Then we have Enna Alouette. Then we have Shu Yamano. Okay, and then we have Alira Pandora. Then we have Nina Kosaka, who became Matara-kan. Then this also includes Petra. And then this is Aya. And okay, so there's a lot of people in this story, which is why I kind of wanted to explain to you who's who. So here, let's begin at the very top. Thank you for your patience in reading yet another document. Okay, at least she is aware that it's like, oh, here goes another one. I know I've gone back and forth quite a bit, and I'm really sorry. This has been a nerve-wracking time, and I acted impulsively rather than speaking on what truly mattered. Thank you again for your patience. It wasn't fair to anyone involved, and I regret any pain I potentially caused. I will not speak on this matter after this. There seems to be confusion about consent. I got permission from my former partner. Click on the images for the full screenshot. I met Marie in 2017 prior to dating my former partner. We worked on a song project together and were Twitter mutuals under my previous alias Rin. We already knew each other as acquaintances before everything took place. So here it says MarieFD's group cover in February of 2017. If you pull up this music video, in the credits, you can see here under the singers, there is MarieFD and Rin, who was Bari's former alias. Okay, so let's continue. So here it says, my former partner had a friend who developed an unhealthy attachment towards him, which subsequently created a toxic dynamic and led to his exclusion from multiple social gatherings while she was in the process of healing from a prior relationship. My former partner was a very kind and supportive friend to everyone. Marie often turned to him for dating advice. She frequently had vent sessions with him about her insecurities and issues she encountered while speaking about anonymous websites. So you can see here, this is a screenshot. So blue is Ike, pink is Reimu, and red is Vox. Reimu says, so one day we were working in his studio. When she says his studio, she means Vox's studio. So one day we were working in his studio and she called him. And then Ike says Vox's fan base. So then Reimu says he was in the bathroom, so I cut the call. Lamau, I'm sorry. And when I did, I kind of ended up reading the first page of their convo. I'm so sorry. I know that was wrong, but I didn't scroll up or anything. It was just like the latest logs. And Ike says, yeah, that's not really okay. No. And then Reimu says, I ended up reading it. And I noticed they legitimately call like every 2 days for like, not exaggerating, Ike, like 8 hours. She sent him an effing bikini picture. When she says she sent him a bikini picture, what Reimu is talking about is that within Vox's fan base, he had a fan that was sending pictures of herself and like having constant conversations with Vox. So that's kind of where Reimu is feeling a little bit insecure about what's going on. So then Reimu continues to say, when I saw that, I was like, Lamau, I left the room and didn't say anything. 1, I was jealous. 2, I couldn't concentrate. 3, I was scared if I stayed. I just want to scroll up and read more. And Ike says, that's highly inappropriate, my personal opinion, on their part, I mean. Reimu says, so I just went to the other room and worked. Then we had a talk in the bathtub and I told him how uncomfortable she made me and how I wanted him to at least make some boundaries. Like I made clear, I didn't want him to cut her off because the least I wanted is to like limit his friendships and seem like those annoying, jealous, controlling girlfriends. But like at least just treat her as an artist you're commissioning because that's what he wanted to do supposedly. And some days went by, I was drunk and I was chilling, sitting behind him and I noticed they were talking again. And because I was drunkle, I got emotional and that's when we fought. And he strangely got like really defensive, Lamau. I felt he was slowly shifting the convo towards like me being that annoying, jealous girlfriend laughing my ass off. And I felt really bad. At some point he did tell me, she just casually asked one day like, oh, I was reading that docs page and they're talking a lot about Reimu. Are you guys dating? And I got so pissed laughing my ass off. He answered like, fucking ew, no, Lamau. Wow. Oh my God. And I told him I didn't like it. And he said he was just acting. And the fact that she came to ask him about it made me super pissed off, laughed my ass off. Not even friends do that. That snooping kind of attitude pissed me off. Interesting that she's pissed off about snooping when she herself did snooping in this screenshot. But okay, let's continue. And apparently she looks at 4chan and the doc site all the time and brings that stuff to Vox. And I just don't like her, laughing my ass off. At one point of the convo, I did tell him, what if she just randomly sends you, I don't know, a pic of her underwear or a bikini? I didn't tell him I knew she had sent it because I felt really shitty about it. And he said, oh no, if that happens, I just cut it off right there. And that answer made me so sad, laughing my ass off. So then BariLoaf says, my former partner and I never had problems when it came to female friends. I've always been open with my interactions with women and I've even drawn fan art, something I did because I wanted to celebrate different dynamics. I traveled to Japan to watch them perform. I've bought merchandise from many of the girls. I slept over at Alira's house. I even had collabs with mutual female friends. However, it's important to note that I stopped drawing after one of her fans attacked my thumbnail art unprovoked. I stopped because of insecurity about my art, but not my relationship. So then here is a conversation between Reimu and Ike. Reimu says, I heart, how was your trip, BB? Met your girlfriend and Millie and Enna and Nina. Let me just quickly say, anytime we see an underline, that's kind of like where Bari is trying to emphasize something within the document, right? So like BariLoaf is trying to emphasize a point when it's underlined here. So Reimu is calling Ike baby, and in like the next sentence, I met your girlfriend. So it's like, it's kind of like very odd behavior for a friend to call another friend baby. So anyways, let's continue. So Marie says, I give 0 fucks, laugh my ass off, blank she. And then Bari says, LOL, as you should. And Marie says, it's crazy. Like she cosplays as Vox, but then it's so obvious that she self-inserts with Vox in her fan art, right? At first I thought it was crazy. Then I'd see her super spicy super chats. Then I'd see him use his thumbnails. Then I'd see him like her tweets only. Then I'd see him replying only to her. And then Bari says, Vox, dead face. Marie says, then I see his talking to her on Discord. So then Bari says, it appears that this was the same person she had briefly vented to my former partner about. She once mentioned blocking them on her company account and brought them up again a year later in conversation. She admitted going through her ex's Discord messages via DMs and my DM. At in-person events, I observed Marie behaving in a flirtatious manner towards my former partner, including an incident where she threw herself onto him with enough force to nearly topple a chair, witnessed by multiple people. I was also informed that she made a personal confession to him. I privately expressed my discomfort to Marie via messages and a call with 2 others. She claimed to not recall the incident due to alcohol consumption, but agreed to stop creating shipping content involving him from May 1st, 2023, and I believe the matter was resolved at the time. Establishing boundaries. The screenshots Marie provided in her document were cut to show a different narrative. My former partner confronted her about her actions, which you can see in the screenshots below. Hey Reimu, could you let me know when you're around? I want to talk about something. Reimu says, I'm here. And then Ike says, okay, great. It's kind of serious. Is that all right with you? Ike says, there's been something on my mind for a while that's bothered me a bit, and more I think about it, the more bothersome I find it. I think it started around the time in Japan with that dinner I brought up a while back. I know that I brought up you telling me to shut the F up unprovoked, but I never managed to bring up the second thing that bothered me that evening. I've been trying to wait for an opportunity to show itself to bring it up organically to you in a conversation to not make things so abrupt and awkward. So when you snapped at me, you also sort of threw yourself at me and clung on to me. This made me very uncomfortable and also came across as rather disrespectful as it was right in front of my significant other as well. The fact that this and the snapping thing happened within the same hour or so has me so confused and conflicted for so long now that I am still not entirely sure what to make of it. I can't tell if I'm puzzled, conflicted, sad, upset, or a mix of all these emotions about the whole deal. I noticed an influx of a lot of Ike and Reimu art being liked and retweeted by you, which has made me rather uncomfortable due to the previous incident. Here's what's been outlined in red, and Ike says, you were somewhat drunk if I recall, but I vividly remembered how it happened. I even pulled away to the point where I was sliding off my chair. You can ask others that were there if my account doesn't seem to add up. As for Rin, I don't know how she feels about the ordeal. This is just my feelings on the matter I can ask. This red text says, Marie had taken out important context in the screenshot she provided in her document to show a narrative that painted a different picture. Okay, so then BariLoaf says, I received a cease and desist letter. Whoa. After noticing that her screenshots left out key context regarding her involvement. Immediately cease and desist from publishing, reposting, or otherwise communicating any further false, misleading, or defamatory statements concerning our client. This is a direct quote from the cease and desist letter I have received. Oh my God, why is there a cease and desist letter? After we set a boundary with Marie, we noticed that we were increasingly excluded from events and ignored without explanation. My former partner later spoke with our mutual friend as it became evident that MarieFD seemed to be allowing her breakup with her ex, Vox, to negatively affect both the friendship and the group's work dynamic. Additionally, she once even suggested we leave her ex out during a trip. So Marie says, I'm sorry you all have to see Vox again in blank, bro. If he ends up hanging with you and Ike, please take Ike on a date. Ditch Vox. So then Bari says, my former partner talked to a manager in response to being around his bullies during recordings. Okay, so this white part is the manager and this is Ike. So Ike says, can I talk to you? It's important. It's regarding the blank with Shu. Members of the blank are paired up with the guests at the blank. I'm paired with my bullies. Can I please switch? I didn't see it on the script until now. If it's too late, I'll just try to tough it out. I'm so sorry for the inconvenience. So then this person says, okay, I'll talk to Shu and Vox in person. And then Ike says, thank you. I really appreciate it. I'm so sorry once again for causing trouble. And this person says, no problem at all. Shu said he is okay with swapping Sunny and you. And then Ike says, okay, thank you both. I'm so grateful. This person says, please join the voice chat so we can do a mic check. And then Ike says, is it required? I'd rather not speak to them. I am afraid. This person says, yes. Ike says, okay. And Ike says, in the future, I never wish to be associated with them. They doxed me. And then this person's like, understood. Super casual. A casual doxing. Understood is very bizarre. A manager at NIJI being completely tone deaf. That's pretty accurate, but unfortunate because you don't want a workplace like that. Absolutely not. Okay, so here it says, my former partner was also excluded from the Millie event on April 19th, 2024. He was live tweeting throughout the event and discovered that he wasn't included in the first 4 waves of participants during the Millie live watch. This coincides with his live tweets. He found out by watching the live recording alongside timeline. So Ike says, so am I getting added to a group chat or are we just doing this over DMs or did something come up? Let me know. This is maybe 11 days later. Hey, what's going on? Haven't heard anything from you, but I keep hearing about all these plans from other people that are coming here. So Ike is saying that to Millie and Millie says, gonna make one now. Sorry, we don't have a group chat, but everything is just being planned on Hangouts whenever we can. And then Ike says, really? Others have told me that there is one. Did they lie? And then Millie says, we had one, but it's for blank and Alira's besties in it. And then Ike says, interesting. Does the bestie not like me or something? Is that why a new group chat had to be made specifically for me? Also, isn't it odd how this is the second time something like this happens where I'm strangely excluded from group chats when there's a meetup with friends in blank? I'm just letting you know how it looks. And then obviously some time has passed. And then Ike says, I don't think I'm asking a difficult question here. Would it be all right if I asked for an answer? And then Millie comes back with, first of all, please let me know if I'm getting this wrong, but the way you talk is a little bit passive aggressive. I just made a group chat specifically for the blank people and didn't exactly have any plans beside the ones we talked about in Hangouts. Even the blank was something that was planned beforehand with our IRL friends. It just happened it landed on the date during the blank. Also, I want to address something too. When I asked you for blank and it was around June, I thought we were on good terms. However, I noticed that you unfollowed me on Twitter. and I got hesitant to reach out to you because I thought you didn't like me. So I'm feeling a little confused about our friendship, especially right now, because of how you're being really passive aggressive with me. I'm going through a lot right now, and I just feel super attacked for no reason. And then Ike says, I'm not intending to come off as passive aggressive. I do think I have the right to ask for answers, though. This is the second time you guys have planned things with blank in blank and excluded me from it. The first time it was like, oh, it's just for the blank peeps, which then changed to, if Ike comes, he's gonna bring Vox. And now it's, oh, it's because Alira's bestie is in it, which then became, oh, it's only for the blank. Why does the reasoning constantly keep changing? I had to find out from people coming here themselves that something was even happening. How do you think it looks to them when they come to me and say, Ike, you're in blank too? Are you coming to the blank? And I go, what blank? You guys are coming here? They are shocked that you didn't tell me anything, especially when they're staying in the same area that we both live in and I'm 5 minutes away. It's really hard not to see this as repeated instances of purposeful exclusion. So let's see how this is underlined. Then Ike says, if I'm not wanted, I'd rather you just tell me up front so I don't waste my time. Just remember that these are my friends too. And then Millie says, first of all, I thought whenever we talked about in blank was something we had put behind and started a clean slate. I just wanted you to understand that during the time when Reimu and Vox were on bad terms, Ike might bring Vox if he comes, was something said to let Reimu mentally prepare might happen since we, at the time, didn't know that you were also not on good terms with Vox. It wasn't meant in a way where anyone wanted to exclude you. I think you kept pushing the idea onto me, Enna, and Alira, and that's really unfair. Also, I said this August trip was something that made plans and hangouts because we're tired to go to blank this year. Peach and I are planning to go. You can even ask the people involved in the group chat. This August trip is something impulsive, and I feel as of now, you know how blank plans things when it comes to hangouts like this. People plan at the last minute or just do whatever they feel that day. We did not plan this intentionally in mind to isolate you or exclude you. I know for a fact that they're coming, but we had no set plans, and that's the reason why I asked you if you wanted to go to blank with us. I just haven't made the group chat because I've been dealing with a death, and I'm honestly tired of being blamed for something that's supposed to be a casual hangout. So Ike says, I do think I'm bringing up valid points, and it's a little bit disappointing that you're resorting to attacking me in return in terms of, quote, passive aggressive and bringing up previous incident that by and large was never resolved because I feel that I never got an answer. There are still conflicting accounts coming from everyone involved. I wish to know why that is. When I brought up the whole if Ike comes, he'll bring Vox to your face in person, you acted shocked and appalled when you said, what? Who said that? Nobody has said anything like that. But now you're telling me you knew all along? I don't understand. Which is it? Also, Reimu is the one that claimed that you were the one that initially said it. But when I asked you during that one dinner, you said you didn't. Why is that also conflicting? I'm really just trying to get answers as to why no one can seem to get the story straight. Also, and this is just circumstantial evidence, mind you, but it wouldn't be the first time that you guys have excluded someone. I know for a fact you did the very same thing to Nina, and when she asked about it, you told her it was, quote, all in her head to her face, only to later admit to her that you did in fact exclude her. That does hurt your credibility somewhat.
I think I can talk about it now that it's like almost a year. It's going to be a year this week. But basically, I tried to get Etheria into a group call twice a week. I would be like, hey, you know, we should maybe talk. We should like get to know each other before, you know, like we don't really know each other, blah, blah, blah. They kept telling me that they were busy and they couldn't make the call. And then months down the line, I found out that like the three of them would like voice call each other.
Damn.
Yep. And when I found that out, like, I'll be honest, I got a little like, I don't know, I just felt like, man, I'm just trying to be like a cool coworker. And I kind of took it personally and I was like,
Yikes. Okay, so this is very telling of the inner mean girl clique that is happening over at NIJI, even to the point where even Nina, aka Matara, was feeling it too. All right, so let's continue. It says here, my former partner confided in his coworkers about the exclusions from collabs, events, and constant ghosting of messages. The harassment and exclusion from collaborations and professional opportunities were repeatedly dismissed by all parties as a mere, quote, relationship drama and to report to staff. It says Marie has been caught bookmarking, archiving sites in the past. You can see here, okay, she bookmarked VTuber. tea. So here it says, even though 4chan is an anonymous website, the posts were sharing sensitive information that was not public knowledge. For clarity, these 4chan posts contain information that only a select few would know, including details about my relationship with my former partner and my friendships with mutual acquaintances. These 4chan posts were found specifically referencing the boundary my former partner and I set with her in 2023. I also only opened up to specifically her wave about my audition because at the time they were friends. I was only made aware of these 4chan posts because Marie had previously vented to my former partner about her insecurities with her relationship dynamic, highlighting 4chan. This being said, how would anyone know I was in a relationship with a bigger streamer if they didn't know who I was? This is all obviously anonymous posting on 4chan. Anonymous says on February 13th, 2024, community is full of petty drama, people dating, girls acting like cats, guys. Bari falls in the petty cat girl dating people and being a bee to lots of girls. And then this says, Bari is also a see you next Tuesday, LOL. She's known to be exploitative with girls. And this person says, sorry, Bari, good luck with your current blank audition. I imagine this is NIJISANJI. Next time, don't tweet about it and delete it fast. Kick. And then here it says, stop shitposting about Ike. He's going to have another meltdown on Twitter and ask to stop making him as someone else's shadow. And he'll lash out at his own fans while having his girlfriend, Bari, lose her shit in private again. Kick. Wow. Amazing. With friends like these, who needs enemies, right? My former partner and I both supported her whenever she sought out relationship advice, often alongside our mutual friends or in DM, which made experiencing something like this in turn all the more heartbreaking. So then this is another screenshot from 4chan. It says, this is from September 2024, saying, Ike's girlfriend is crazy. She's trying to get into Niji right now. Kick. I hope she gets in and gets Matara episodes with any girl that gets close to Ike on and off stream. This says, this girl has had so much drama in the Utate community as well. I think she's been friends with Enna and Millie for a while now, but they just kind of ignore her cause Matara. Again, the word Matara keeps coming up. Suddenly again in 2025, my name was mentioned on 4chan with yeet threats. It was strange because the date of these posts correlate to the fact that she was being taken off a sponsorship around this time. After these 4chan posts were found, no more mentions of Bari were happening, so I had hoped that this was the extent of the doxing, talking about my private relationships / friendships that would occur since her departure from the company. So here it says, April 14, 2025, Bari, you evil bee, yourself Bari, toxic bee, yourself Bari, yourself Bari, who the F is Bari? It says, reflecting on these memories have been both painful and bittersweet. I acknowledge my own insecurities, but I've never been an overly possessive or controlling partner to the point of malice. I've always been very vocal in my support of his friends and have been constantly given back to the community I'm in. If my actions have ever caused discomfort, I wish that had been communicated so I could have responded with sincere apology and greater respect. I did not know anyone from our mutual past that felt that way. Despite several attempts to seek understanding through messages and conversations, my former partner and I struggled to find a resolution and resorted to going to staff over the course of years of documenting constant harassment, exclusion, and inaction. As evidenced in our communication, when I raised concerns about her behavior and attempts to discuss the harassment, she dismissed my concerns, characterizing me as jealous and insecure, even after all the talks and meeting me multiple times in person, receiving gifts and fan art from me. During the same period, she was discussing on an anonymous website in DMs, monitoring fans and reviewing her ex-partner's messages with said fans without consent. After her response to my initial video, she sent me a cease and desist letter. I am not asking or encouraging anyone to harass or retaliate against Marie or her former employer. The information shared in this statement reflects my personal experiences, perceptions, and understanding of the events as they unfold. Thank you for your time. So obviously that was a lot. There was a lot of deciphering of like who is who. But essentially, Rima has posted the TLDR of essentially what we've all seen. This was posted on Rima's X account on October 26, 2025 at around 4:30 p.m. So Rima says, what the Bari doc blew wide open. It says Marie/Reimu lied in her response document by doctoring screenshots, which directly contradict her claim of not being drunk when throwing herself on Ike. And then it says Ike was doxed by bullies, plural, within NIJISANJI. He reported it to a manager who replied casually, basically confirming that the clique is real. 100%. Yeah. The screenshots are dated after the Selene incident during a time when NIJISANJI was under public pressure to improve liver working conditions, which makes this even more damning. We now know from DMs that Nina, aka Matara, was excluded from an Etheria project in one instance. When she asked Millie about it, Millie told her it was, quote, all in her head, only to later admit she did exclude her. Then it says, Marie/Reimu lied about her breakup with Vox being amicable. Bari got permission from Ike to release more screenshots, pushing back on the crazy ex-girlfriend narrative. That relationship seemed rocky, and she confided in Ike about it throughout, making her rebound more likely. So let's see what some of the people on X are saying. Lord Umbrella says, NIJISANJI is really outrageously incompetent and at managing their talents. Much of this poor behavior could have been stopped and mitigated. That's true. Moo says, how does Niji get this many toxic personalities? Sean says, poor Matara going from one toxic company to another. She deserves better. Kocho says, like I said, this whole mess should have been handled privately. But besides that, it shows how bad Niji is, especially since what they did to Doki Bird. This just shows even more how bad the management is there. It's a very troubling document that really should see the light of day. The fact that it has been taken down due to the cease and desist. Now that we know what it is, it's due to the cease and desist letter. It's very shocking, but not surprising considering what we know about Niji and how they treat their people, how management is so passé about putting their foot down in regards to toxic fan bases within toxic talents themselves. It's really sad to see everything that we were speculating about turned out to be true, right? There is a mean girl clique in NIJISANJI, and that is not a great place to work. Like we've said before, it is a black company. It continues to be a black company. This should have been properly managed by management. All of this could have been stopped. And the fact that it hasn't is really, really sad. It's not only a disservice to the talents that work here, but it's also a disservice to the fans too. Nobody needs to see this kind of infighting. And I'm glad that BariLoaf was able to bring this to light, and we were able to see kind of like behind the curtain of what's actually going on at NIJISANJI. It's a lot of things that we suspected were true, but to actually see it is shocking. It's absolutely shocking. Okay, guys, and that's it. That's the end of the VTuber Newsy. Guys, I apologize. It was only one topic, but it was actually quite a long topic, so I know that this episode is only about one particular subject matter. I will be getting to regular Newsy News tomorrow, so please make sure to look forward to that. Okay, guys, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you see, please make sure to like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. And guys, if you can't head over to Twitch, that is no problem. I do have a YouTube channel called Lydia VTuber VODs, where I back up all of my gameplay, and I've probably played through some of your favorites. So please make sure to go check this out. Okay, guys, thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a great day. Take care. Mwah! Bye-bye. Oh, this is no good. What the frick? What the frick? Ah! Oh, run! Run, 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 run! Oh my god, where am I running to? Ah! Okay, okay, maybe I'll go where the blood is. Ah! 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 I'll follow the red road. Oh my god. Oh, ew. Oh god. Okay, never mind. Okay, hold on. Woo! Ah! There's a door. Ah! Let me out of the door. Ah! Oh my god. Stop. You're killing me. Okay. Oh! Oh Jesus. Okay.